Sorry, but we can't talk about the Middle East when there's the Conservative Party conference to discuss. I'm Harriet Langley Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined as ever by my producer, Martin. And what a show we have for you this week, eh, Martin?
Oh, yes, indeed. We were joined by one of the front runners for Tory leader Robert Jenrick to talk about his campaign and how it's going. Ishan Akbar brings us an apology watch on Keir Starmer paying for his Taylor Swift tickets. And we interviewed Jonathan Gullis about his employment situation. But before we go any further, we must remind you that we have a live show at the Cheerful Earful Festival on the 16th of October, which is less than 2 weeks away.
We're on at 7 p.m. at the Bedford in Balham, and tickets are available from cheerfulearful.co.uk. Martin, Ishan and I will be taking your questions live, and we will be recording an extra secret bit just for the live show. It will be cut out of the version we release as a podcast, so if you want to hear us libel people, you will have to buy a ticket.
Well, we probably shouldn't libel people live either, really.
You know what? What with Labour's terrifying crackdown on freedom of speech, you're probably right. But we'll stick it up on our Patreon, patreon.com/noncensored, for all our lovely supporters to hear at least.
Sure, provided, you don't libel people.
Buzzkill! But on to this week's show, and as ever, there were so many great bits in the daily radio show that we didn't have time to include here. For example, we had a brilliant interview with Boris Johnson about his new book.
Yes, but sadly I decided we couldn't include it here because I found out that Harriet had sent Boris her briefing notes before the recording and the actual questions, and spent the evening before the recording at his flat.
Not just the evening, Martin, the whole night. But we'll start with our interview with the man who's taken the Conservative conference and the Conservative leadership contest by storm, Robert Jenrick. Let's take a listen. Robert Jenrick, thank you so much for coming on the programme. How are you?
Harriet, it is a pleasure. I'm very good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm absolutely wonderful. Well, I'm very excited because it's so wonderful
Me too.
Yeah, great. Well, we're all excited because, of course, it's the Conservative Party conference week, which is an exciting thing
Christmas.
for everyone. Yes, it is like Christmas. Oh,
Yes.
What's Christmas like at the Jenrick household?
Well, we have a big turkey,
Yes.
and then with the turkey, we like to have roast potatoes.
Oh, wonderful.
That's pretty traditional. Yes, that's...
Yeah. And then gravy wouldn't go amiss. Because I come from a family with a long line of working class values.
Oh, how
right.
wonderful.
So gravy, to me, is more of a religious belief.
Wow.
Right.
What is the religious belief behind gravy?
Gravy.
I don't think I'm familiar with
I think
that.
it's a sort of it's a meat juice
Yes,
Yeah,
very.
that goes very well.
That's a very religious-y, working class thing, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Which a lot of people don't understand working class values, so it's quite hard to explain to other people. But I do, as my dad's best friend's cleaner actually went to state school.
Wow. God, that is working class.
Yeah. So it just never really leaves you.
Because that's the thing, Robert. People don't think of you really as a sort of man of the people, but actually, you are.
Actually, I am.
You are
I am,
a man
yeah,
of the
yes,
people.
yes.
I mean, you have gravy and you understand that it's a religious thing, apparently. And I think
Exactly.
that to me says a lot about working class
Yes. I won't
values.
turn the football off if it's on.
Wow. Yeah.
Relatable, very relatable.
That's what the working class people are like,
Yes.
Producer Martin. They don't turn off the football
And
and
do
they
you
get
think
silly about gravy.
You're running for the Tory leadership.
Oh, the big one, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that that's really appealing to the working classes? Is the way to get to the top of the Conservative Party?
But they like someone who understands them, Producer Martin.
Well, I think we've lost conservative values. This is what
Yes.
people need conservative values, right? More gravy, more football, but I think most importantly, I think just generally a bit colder in public.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Very
I think just
important.
being more stilted in conversation.
Yes.
And then we need to bring that back. I think people just need to be a little bit more awkward on public transport.
Yeah.
You know, conservative values.
That's what
Do you
it
know
was
what I mean?
like. I mean, that's what it used to be like in the good
Yeah,
old days,
it
didn't
did.
it?
No, I remember the 1940s was you know, that's when London was at its best. You know, everyone was in it together.
Yes.
Kind of no shifty, awkward. After you, no, after you. You know, but rush hour in the 1940s, it would take 3 hours to get on the train because everyone would be offering someone else to go in front of them. And yes, it wasn't practical, but it was polite.
Yes,
right?
that's so nice.
But now with all this immigration, the new stats that have just been published by rightwingfuck.net.
Yeah, wonderful.
That the
really reputable.
population of Britain in 2032 is set to be 1% white.
Wow.
I don't
Like how,
think that's
you know, and obviously
correct, is it?
Well,
1%, maybe 2%. I didn't read the
quite
whole
low.
article, but can you imagine?
yeah, that's terrible. Then
You
what
know?
are we? We're minority. We're persecuted
Yeah.
minorities. Do
Yes,
we want that to
yes.
happen? No.
No, definitely not.
And this
It'd be rubbish. It'd be absolutely rubbish, Harriet.
This is the thing, Robert. Sometimes you have been criticised in the past for
Oh, yes, I welcome it.
heavy-handed decisions, like the painting over children's murals in refugee centres. And I think, well, you.
Well, what are we trying to muddy cuddle? What's the
A
word?
mollycoddle, I think.
But I
Are we
do know
trying to
about it.
molly? Yeah, are we? Well, you know, with the state of this country, it's becoming muddy cuddling.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound good either, does
It
it?
doesn't sound good, actually. Now you bring that up. Do we need to molly cuddle refugees, or do we need to beat in traditional British values?
Well,
Yes.
I don't. Okay.
Do we need to slap in some
No,
traditional British values?
No, Robert, I feel like slapping the refugees is, once again, I think you lost a lot of...
Do we need to punt in
no,
some traditional,
punt-
conservative
Yes.
British values to the
Traditional
refugees?
conservative-
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
There were
And I'm a big
pictures-
fan of football, so maybe we goal strike in some British values into refugees.
That's wonderful. That's
Miss-
wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Harriet. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you should
Thank
say
you.
that more. That's
Thank you.
absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Now, this is obviously the week of the Conservative Party conference.
Oh,
and
yes. Brilliant.
You've already been making some headlines with various things you've said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Firstly,
I
I want
appreciate that.
I want to sort of softball in the revelation that one of your children has Thatcher as a middle name.
Yeah, Margaret Thatcher. Yeah, I mean, there's
Wonderful.
Margaret Thatcher. Yes, and people laugh at it, but I'm proud that one of my child's middle names is Margaret Thatcher because there's nothing to be ashamed of. My other daughter is called Winston Churchill David Cameron Jenrick, all one
Yes.
word, which
Wow.
a lot of people said that's quite long. People saying that's 4 names crashed into one, saying that maybe at school that's a hard thing to say, but it's traditional conservative values.
Yes.
If you go back to the 1940s, Winston Churchill David Cameron was the most popular boy's name. Now it's Mohammed. I'm sorry to say it, it's Mohammed. That's the most popular boy's name.
Dear.
Yeah.
Dear.
When was the last time you met a Winston Churchill David Cameron?
No,
I've
do you
got
know?
to
I don't
say
think I've
I
ever met
haven't.
one.
I didn't think. Yeah, exactly.
No.
You know. And then my other son is called No Free School Meals, Henrik.
Wow.
Right.
Which no,
no,
Is it,
free school- no.
it's No Free School Meals.
Do you think that
Oh,
gets
wow.
confusing when he's
Okay.
at school?
Yes, there's challenges. Of course, there's challenges, but there's challenges upholding traditional conservative values. People forgot what this country was like, so
Yes.
it is going to be challenging. But it's because people have short memories. People forget that these are traditional English names,
Yeah.
ancient medieval names.
Yeah.
No Free School Meals.
I almost think that you're creating leaders of the future with names like that.
You know what? I couldn't agree more, Harriet.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. It's sad now that you're Conservatives, you're not in power. I mean, why do you think you lost the election? I mean,
Heartbreaking. Well, I think something happened over the last 12 years where it seems like this country completely went to, if you don't mind my French, utter crap.
you can say that. You can
Right.
say that on this podcast.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
actually
And
French.
I don't know who was in charge, but I think we need to get involved and sort it out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've got lots of graphs, and all of the lines are going down.
Well,
Wow.
I have lost what were the X or Y axes of them,
right.
but it's a downward. The line has a downward trend to it, right?
It's awful.
And so I need to get in to make the line upwards trend.
Yeah.
Do you
That
know?
is-
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, it's a good.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Visual metaphor.
I've forgotten my boards, but if you could imagine it,
No,
I can
we don't
imagine
need
it.
line down,
Wow.
but then predicted once
Yes.
iPhone power line up. Does
Yes.
that
Line
make
down bad,
Yes.
line up good. It's,
good? Yes, yes.
It is very
Yeah.
clear. You're saying a lot of the things that people want to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
I think particularly
Thank
when
you.
you were
Thank you
saying
very much. I appreciate that.
more gravy, more football, things
Sure.
that people can get
Yeah.
behind.
Working class values.
Working class values, graph going up. They're all
Yeah.
they're going to win some votes, but it's still a pretty hardline approach. And of course, you were in the last government, Robert. You got to remember that you were part of that, weren't you? The Conservatives were in power for quite a long time, and you were definitely involved.
I don't quite understand what you're getting at. It
Well, you
doesn't seem
sort
to.
of had a
I don't think the
chance
logic
to-
really tracks. I think we're getting
Hold
off
up.
topic here.
Yeah. I tell you,
If we could stay.
let's
Yeah,
bring it
I don't
back.
understand what you're saying. Really.
I do want to talk about your campaign video because
Please.
you had some criticism from your fellow candidates, Tom Tugendhat, in particular, Tugendhat, sorry.
Toogs.
Yes. Now, he criticised the fact that you said that the SAS kill, not capture terrorists, and this was
Yes.
due to being part of the ECHR. I mean,
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Harriet. If I could clarify, I could defend myself because I feel this is finally my time to get in front of this. People are saying that I was slagging off the SAS. I couldn't be doing less than that. I think no one is doing a harder fight in the fight for housing in the UK than the SAS. Right?
Wow.
A lot of people think that the SAS are there to, project global power, to do special military operations. No, we're sending the SAS out to kill terrorists because if we don't kill them, we have to, by the laws of the European Convention of Human Rights, have to give them a 4-bedroom house in a leafy suburb of a desirable city in the UK. That is written.
Wow.
That was the second thing written in the European after World War II.
Wow.
And so the SAS, this is what people don't understand about the SAS, is they're trying to create more homes for British people.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Because otherwise we don't have enough 4-bedroom houses in leafy suburbs of desirable cities.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful note to end on, and I
Thank
don't think
you.
it needs to be
Thank you.
interrogated at all because
No.
it's clearly correct and right. And well, best of luck, Robert, with the leadership race.
Thank you very much, Harriet. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I just hope people listen to your working class values and
Please.
also that you want to, hark back to a better time.
Pint of gravy and the soccer match is on.
Yes, and going to a bomb shelter and
Yeah. Yeah.
What's not to love about
Yeah.
that?
Brilliant.
Now, we all know that Sir Keir Starmer is the most corrupt Prime Minister we've ever had, taking thousands of pounds of money that he declared in the register of members' interests.
And you think that's more corrupt than not declaring them?
Martin, he's a Marxist. He shouldn't be wearing nice clothes or going to Taylor Swift concerts. He should be working an allotment or something.
Like Jeremy Corbyn?
No, Martin. Jeremy Corbyn should stop working in an allotment and get a nice suit. It's not complicated. But to rate Keir Starmer's apology for what many people are calling Register of Members' Interests Gate, we were joined by Ishan Akbar for Apology Watch.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry isn't sorry enough, or not.
Ishan Akbar, hello.
Harriet, hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm good. I'm not very keen on the weather this week. I'd like that to change. But otherwise, I'm tickety-boo. How about yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm currently in quite a surprisingly sunny Liverpool at the moment, having done a gig in Southport last night, where a punter asked me, if you're here, who's running the shop? So I've had a lovely week.
Oh, that's a fun. Do we like that joke?
Well, I mean, what shop do you run a shop?
It's
Ishan,
very
is this
witty.
today?
Yes, did he specify what kind of shop, Ishan?
No, he didn't. I'm going to assume that he thought I was running some sort of electronics mobile phone
could-
facility.
Oh. Well, you sometimes wear some nice sporting goods. Maybe he thought it was a JD Sports or maybe a slightly more upmarket.
Were you holding a phone charger at the time? Because I can imagine that would be quite confusing.
Or if you were wearing a black and white striped shirt, they might have thought you worked in a Foot Locker. If you
Yes.
were dressed like a referee. Sometimes that's...
I was just wearing a grey
But
hoodie.
it was probably racism then, I think.
Yes, it sounds no. Anyway, Ishan, before we get on to this week's apology watch, do you want to make an apology to anyone?
Do I want to make an apology to anyone? I'm racking my
Is there
brains as to
anyone
who
you
I
want
need
to
to apologise
apologise
to in the last week or so.
Oh. And yet there's a titter. There's a small titter of guilt there. Perhaps it's a small...
Can be to anyone, Ishan, anyone you think
Anyone
might
at
deserve an
Wow.
apology from you.
Okay, well,
Really
I'd like
put
to
on the-
apologise to my cat
spot
Leo
there.
for waking up an hour later than I
Oh.
usually do.
Oh,
Leo.
I bet Leo
Oh.
wasn't happy with that.
No,
A lot of
he's-
Hungry
meows.
cat.
Hungry little
Probably
kitten.
started to eat himself.
Yes.
Probably that's what they do.
That's what these Leos do. But yes, I'd like to apologise to Leo. So, Leo, if you're listening, this is my apology. May I ask, who are you expecting me to apologise to?
I was just thought you might want to do a little apology before we start apology watch, that's all. Catholics do it all the time. It's just good to get it out of the system
Okay,
for you,
out of the
get
system.
going with your day.
Yeah. Yeah. Clean it out. Have a good old clear out.
I was raised Muslim, so I just wait for the Day of Judgment. Just wait for the Day of Judgment.
Oh, that sounds much less fun, doesn't it?
Yes.
Waiting for the day of judgment. No, thank you. I'll just go in a booth and say that I used to hit my sister. Done.
Yeah. Also, sorry
Anyway.
for making you record the following day because I was out till too late on a Wednesday night.
Ishan. Wow.
Here it comes.
Wonderful.
Here it is.
Thank you. There it is.
Harriet shamed Ishan there.
That was,
I would
we've
like
got
to make
our
a heartfelt
apology.
for my active social life that sometimes takes me
Oh, this sounds a bit like a non-apology
a reasonable
rather than apology.
when I'm out there extolling the virtues of non-censored podcasts to strangers in
Okay,
smoking
we're
areas.
getting into non-apology territory. I think this sets the scene nicely for our non-apology watch.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry isn't sorry enough, or not. Not.
Okay, Ishan, back to news because that's what we talk about in this program. We leave the personal out of it, you fucker. So, what is the non-apology this week?
Well, as you'll know, producer Martin's personal hero, Keir Starmer, has been embroiled in somewhat of an expensive scandal in recent weeks. And after receiving some £32,000 from Lord Ali in clothing, spectacles and other donations, the criticism of Keir Starmer has come to a head whereby he has now returned £6,000 worth of gifts. And the gifts, the £6,000, is covering the cost of 6 Taylor Swift tickets, 4 tickets to the races, and a clothing rental agreement with a high-end designer favoured by his wife, Lady Starmer. Now, he hasn't actively come out and said sorry. What he has said is he thinks it's right to return some gifts and that he would commit to reviewing the rules around gifts and hospitality. But these aren't the only kind of returns that we've seen. Other interests that have been added to the register recently include £836 from Angela Rayner, listed as a visit to a DJ booth. Oh, that sounds a bit
Disgusting.
We had £1,600 worth of tickets to a Taylor Swift concert at Wembley Stadium, accepted from the Premier League by Liam Conlon, a Labour MP and son of Sir Keir's Chief of Staff Sue Gray. And David Lammy returned £2,300 worth of hospitality from Tottenham Hotspur, which, to be fair, makes sense.
Why does that make sense?
Well, because being gifted to watch Tottenham Hotspur, that's not really a gift, is it?
Oh, I think he's having a little dig at the
That's a little
Spurs
football
there.
comment
Yes.
for our football listeners.
There'll
And
be
for those
people losing it over that, I imagine.
for those who don't understand football,
In terms of
that was
just
about football.
analysing these as apologies or returns, here's what I think. I think the optics of it is pretty good. You're returning some of the gift. But if you really care, do two things. Number one, return everything. Not just some. Return absolutely everything to really show that you're sad about it. Or gift the equivalent amount you received to another person. Pay it forward. Pick a person randomly and pay it forward. If you've received £32,000 worth of gifts, gift £32,000.
I don't know.
Pass
Sounds a bit
the
woo-wah, that,
parcel.
Ishan.
Or did too woo-wah for you?
Yeah, a bit woo-wah, this sort of paying it forward.
Yeah.
That said, let's look a little bit closer to home because producer Martin,
Yes.
I wouldn't mind some lion bars.
Oh, well, now, yes, I've declared this. We've spoken a lot about the lion bars that I received. It was a one-time thing. Sir Keir, and this was before he became Prime Minister. Yes, we were just forming our friendship, and he happened to pass by and leave me a box of lion bars, and they were delicious, and I ate them, and I can't give them back. And you know what? As a gift from a friend, fine. I put down the value at £6. Possibly that's adjusted for inflation.
Harriet, would you have taken these lion bars to your trip to the Bahamas?
No, I wouldn't have taken them with me to the Bahamas. They'd melt, wouldn't they?
But wait. Was the trip to the Bahamas gifted? Was that
Trip to the Bahamas, well, it was our lovely donor, the one who doesn't like to be named.
the mysterious
The
donor?
mysterious...
Run for the kebab empire.
He just gave me a little holiday because I've been working flat out.
That's got to be worth more than a
Did he go with you?
packet of lion bars.
No, he didn't go with me. I took Jonathan.
Yes.
What about you, Ishan? Have you had any, mysterious contributions?
Well,
It's not mysterious.
It's not mysterious.
No, can I just stop there? It's not mysterious, but don't make it sound below board. It's not mysterious. He's mysterious. His gifts aren't. There's
Yeah.
a difference.
Yes.
He's our mysterious donor, but his gifts are very unmysterious. And they're certainly not dodgy like lion bars.
Precisely, because who knows what you're putting in lion bars. I mean, Harriet mentioned working flat out there. Our mysterious donor, very generously, I've got a lovely little place in Elephant and Castle, which I use kind of almost as a second home in London.
Are you
It's just a little bolt hole, isn't it?
Yeah,
a pied de terre?
Little London bolt hole.
yeah,
This
yes, exactly.
seems. I mean, obviously, we don't have to. We're not subjected to quite the same scrutiny as the government, but I still think there's quite a difference between me having some, delicious confectionery and you actually owning property.
No, but the thing is, your
I think-
confection could be drugged, and then you start spouting opinions and nonsense that person wants, whereas a flat is just...
Also, it's work related, isn't it?
Yes.
Ishan needs a bolt hole. I need a holiday. Do you need lion bars? No, you should be watching your weight.
Well, I know I should be really, but I've finished them now, so that's what's done is done. Listen, I have something to chip in here, and that's that first of all, you can't choose who gives you a gift. So, like the very fact that it's being gifted to you, and then you have to, you have to make sure that people know about that. That's not your fault. And returning a gift is actually quite difficult. I largely do not buy from ASOS because the returns policy, and it's meant to be as easy as possible, but it's actually, you've got to go down to the post office. There's often a queue where I live in Berkhamsted.
I can't deal
it's
with this anymore.
it's a busy. You want half
Okay,
a day.
I don't want to hear about producer Martin's.
If you're popping into
delivery
H&M,
thing.
they've only got the one desk, and I've got all of my different. I don't like to queue
you
up
shop
and
at ASOS
try things
or
on
H&M?
in the. Well, not in ASOS because of the returns policy, but
Okay.
H&M, yes, they've got. I mean, sometimes
Is hard with the returns
other,
policy. Well,
other
look.
places do exist, I suppose.
Okay, let's conclude this. Do we think, Ishan, that our Prime Minister is right to give back his $6,000?
I mean, it's something, I suppose. I guess the people will be happy that he's giving some money back, but you know what I'm like. I want our politicians to look good, and I want our politicians to enjoy the fruits of their
smell good.
labour, right? And I want our
He's going to
politicians-
start looking a bit crap now, isn't he? He's going to be with
Yeah.
his little M&S suits, and we'll go, well, public, you brought this on yourselves.
might start looking like,
Now we've got
Labour leadership hopeful Jeremy Corbyn back in 20 whatever it was.
Yeah, public opinion is turning him into Jeremy Corbyn in front of our eyes.
Precisely.
That's
Day
what's
by
happening.
day, he gets more and more like Corbyn. So I worry for Keir Starmer because he might end up...
He's been
looking-
Corbynified.
He'll become a mouthpiece for Hamas.
Yeah, that's what will happen.
Wow. Okay.
This is
I
where
think
it
this might
starts.
be escalating a little. I'm just going to nip this in the bud because I did have one more question I wanted to ask you two, which is if you could gift a special present to any current member of Parliament, what would it be and for whom?
Great question.
Current member of... Well,
Yes, yeah. For example, I would give probably I would give Angela Rayner. I think I'd give her just a new, like a good water bottle. You know, like a really good one. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it's important to stay hydrated. And I find just having a litre of water next to me, it reminds me to have a little sip throughout the day. And
right, okay. I want to end this. I want to end this apology watch now. I don't want to do this. I don't want to give people things. I don't want to talk about it.
Are you sure? Not even a single. Not even Diane Abbott.
I don't want to give Diane Abbott anything. No, definitely not.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry is the sorry enough, or not. Not.
Now, if you're finding the adverts in this show annoying and like the idea of supporting us directly, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/noncensored, where not only will you get the show without adverts, you'll also get the episodes before everyone else, as well as videos of all our segments and exclusive bonus podcasts. Finally, this Conservative conference, we heard the heartbreaking news that no one wants to give former MP and former Deputy Conservative co-chairman Jonathan Gullis a job. We're not sure how he got our number, but he called into the show to talk about it. Let's take a listen. Jonathan Gullis, how are you?
Yes, I am happy to be here. I'm happy to have the opportunity to speak with you. And
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for being here.
Well, yes, this is my show. So, Jonathan, it's great to speak to you because you hit headlines recently about how you've been finding life hard since the election. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Well, first I'd like to correct you because life was actually hard already.
I see.
And then life in the election was extra hard.
During election time.
Specifically during the election,
yes,
when the numbers came in. And then after it, it's continued to be hard.
Right. And that's because you've been having trouble finding a job, I believe.
Well, I correct you again, because,
right.
It's been easy finding jobs. It's just been difficult getting anyone to let me do them.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So lots of places have jobs. I see lots of people doing jobs. And so I'm finding them everywhere. But in terms of a job that I'm doing, less of those. But that's why I'm especially excited to be here today and, to talk to you about my core strengths.
Oh.
And to give you... So my phone number is 079...
Oh, no.
Actually, don't do that, Jonathan. No, not on... No, it's live.
Mm-hmm.
Well, other people might have jobs as well. But, okay, I'll write it down.
Yes, okay. So this is very interesting. I mean, I wasn't going to ask you about your core strengths, but as you bring it up, what are your core strengths?
Well, my arms are they're quite strong. But from 2007 to 2011, I went to university. And then I went back to school after that.
Right.
Which a lot of people would say is a step down, but I was actually teaching.
You were teaching. Yes, I think that's important for people to know.
So that changes it.
But why do you think? Because one of the things you've said in the news is that you've been applying for teaching jobs and no one's been returning your calls. And you feel that's because you were an MP.
I mean, I also feel, it's partly because they don't know my number, which is why I'm trying to put it
Okay.
out
Well,
there.
Jonathan, do you also feel that perhaps it's because you were a Tory MP and actually quite vocal during a particularly harsh government that was quite cruel to the education system amongst other parts of our society?
Harriet, who's that?
Okay, you're talking to producer Martin there, Jonathan.
Producer.
Yeah.
Hello, producer. That's very good. Hello, I'm producer Jonathan.
Wait, what? What?
So you asked me a question. Because it was. No,
Do you need producer Martin to repeat the question
no,
for you
I
there,
know it.
Jonathan?
I'm a producer too. So
Right.
it was the government I was in. I
Hmm.
think was it was really nice to me because they let me. Do you know what a chairman is? I was the chairman.
Yes.
So I actually think it was very nice. A lot of people say it was not so nice, but what other governments have given me jobs? Your government hasn't.
Well, we're not a government. I mean, as you know,
no.
yeah.
Well,
no.
there's two of you.
That's not how it.
So, Jonathan, what do you feel constitutes as a government in your? Do you mean sort of metaphorically speaking? You talking about?
Well, just sort of when you get a letter.
When I suppose in a way we do govern the radio waves when we're
Oh, that's
broadcasting.
clever. Yes, producer Martin. Yeah,
but
we
it's
do
not
do
a
that.
traditional. It's very much a sort of two-person setup.
So you were lying before,
No. We're just trying to help you out,
which is
Jonathan.
another sign that you're a government because we lied a lot.
Right.
Do you think this is why you're not getting teaching jobs because schools perceive you as being a liar?
Well, I thought it would be easier because you can lie to kids and they can't get angry because you're meant to. But I think the schools. So I've gone to several schools, and so I've got a very you have to have a system. So I go to the school, the front gate. I stand at the front gate, and eventually someone comes out and they say, "What are you doing here?" And at that point, I start saying my phone number, which is 079.
Right. Yeah.
Jonathan,
No. We
don't
need
do
to,
that,
you could
Jonathan.
Just pop that on a website or something if you want. But again,
But
that wouldn't probably be advised.
take down my number, and then they ask me to leave. So I assume they'll phone me back, and they haven't yet.
Do you think maybe you're going about applying for a job the wrong way? I mean, I don't know if standing by the school gates until someone, and presumably an adult, comes up to you.
Usually an adult. Sometimes children come over, and then the adults come over even faster.
Right. Yeah. I think maybe that's not the way to get a job in a school. But what do I know? I've never been a teacher, unlike you, Jonathan.
Oh yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan, have you thought?
And I'm sure you were.
Have you thought that maybe you should just, if you start teaching, then your class will come to you. Maybe you could do some kind of online education.
You are,
that kind of thing.
That's smart. That's a really good. You are a producer. That's smart. Okay, so I'll just find some kids. And I'll put them in a room and I'll start.
No, I think that would be unwise, Jonathan.
No,
I don't think you want to be putting any kids in a room.
I've got so many ideas.
You could just, why don't you start by trying to teach us something? Why don't you just, give us what sort of thing would you do? Day one.
Sit down.
Sit
down.
We are.
Stop talking. I'm the teacher now. I'm the producer.
Our job, though. We do need to.
Shut up.
No, give him a chance, producer Martin. He's warming into it.
Shut up, please. Okay. Shut up. This is my podcast now, and welcome to my classroom. Everyone's going to learn a lot of Do you have a book?
I've
well-
got some books here, but okay.
You're in my classroom and you will be quiet.
Okay.
All of
have an
you are scum and bullies, and I won't have it. This is. I teach sort of the school of life, so it's not a sort of specific subject.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's just sort of general life things.
You're not allowed to hard knock them.
No.
No, not
Well,
physically.
Jonathan, I really thank you. That was a really sort of wonderful insight to what being taught by you must be like.
I don't think I did my best work there.
No, listen, I think it was great, and I'm sure there are schools around the country who listen to this show, and I think soon you'll be getting a phone call.
079.
No,
it's just we don't need to know.
No, we don't need the phone number. But thank you, Jonathan Gullis. Thank you for coming on the show.
Did it go well?
I tell you what, we'll
do you mean
call
the interview? Yeah, we'll call you.
But you don't have my number.
No, that's okay.
Fine.
We don't need it. We don't need it.
Enough, I think.
But best of luck with your job search, and I'm sure you'll be employed very soon.
I really miss you guys when I'm not here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we could make him a runner producer.
No, we haven't got the budget, and also it's very bad.
Well, that's it for now. We'll be back next week, so in the meantime, like, subscribe, tell your friends, follow the Out of Context Nonsense Blue Sky account, and remember that there's loads of stuff on our Patreon at patreon.com/noncensored. So, if you enjoy the show, please do support us if you can. With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Ishan Akbar, Horatio Gould, Thomas Mayo and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.